It just gives an opportunity for 5,000 people to get to experience a totally new way of doing church.
It's really amazing, and it definitely opens your eyes to a lot of things that's been going on, like in the Presbyterian community. So I definitely think that they should come.
This is a whole week where you're like, your whole goal, all of your time, your energy is spent, I'm growing, I'm going to grow, I'm going to change, I'm going to experience God in a way that I haven't done before.
I come from a really small church, not a lot of youth, so to see a lot of people, young youths that share the same love in Christ with me, it's really, really awesome.
It's a really neat way to see how your faith is celebrated in so many different ways.
Go, because you're gonna love this. I've never met the most nicest people I've ever met in my life here. Like, it's awesome.
I don't even care if you knew you were going to be here yesterday. You're here. You're here because God has called you here.
Please just do it. You never know what you will learn, what the experiences you will have, and the people that you'll meet. Just do it, and I promise you'll have a blast.
Welcome to our webinar, and today we have 4 hosts who know a lot about Triennium, and they want to share with you today their experiences, why they think you should consider going to Triennium, and also give you an opportunity to ask any questions. So I'm going to just go around and let you know who we have here today, and then they're going to speak more on for themselves. One thing I did want to let you know, we are going to have a question session at the end. If, as we're going through this, you have a question and you don't want to forget it, or you want to let us know, down in the bottom of your screen, you'll see this chat bubble, and you can just click on that, send that to everyone. I'm going to send everybody a test now, just so you can see how the chat works, and see that it came through. So if you have a question, just forward it to us, and then we can try to answer that at the end. But right now, so who we have today, we have Christy D'Ambrosio, who is the youth director. Wave, Christy. I guess everybody knows you, but for the recording anyway. You're the youth director at the First Presbyterian Church in Albany, and also the Albany Presbytery Registrar for Triennium 2019. We have Reverend Rebecca Lawson Putman. Becca, so yep.
That's me.
And she's the pastor up at Northville United Presbyterian in Northville, New York. We have Andy Scaptura.
Hello. And
Andy goes to Westminster Presbyterian Church and has attended Triennium in the past. And then we have Imani Elad. Is that how you say it? Imani Elad or Elad? And she's frozen at the moment. Hopefully she'll come back. But she attends First Presbyterian Church in Albany. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Becca. Oh, Imani, I was just asking, do you say your name Elad or Elad?
It's Elad. So, I mean, basically, you already said, you said it well. It was good. Okay. Better than most.
Okay. So I'm going to mute myself and let Becca take it away.
All right. Let's see. Kim already introduced me, but I'm Becca. I'm the pastor in Northville. I never had the opportunity to go to Triennium when I was in high school or college. So after I got ordained, I jumped at the chance to be one of the adult chaperones going to, I guess, live vicariously through the kids going to Triennium. But I'm going to speak a little bit about the worship experience. If you do get a chance to watch the video on our website or on the Triennium website, you get to see some images of that. And if you have never worshiped with 5,000 other people, which I think many of us going to small Presbyterian churches have never experienced something like that, it is completely different than really anything that I had experienced before or since. They start out worship every time we had worship with energizers, which are sort of these organized dances. And maybe if you are a youth, you find them energizing, but if you are an adult, you find them tiring and are very glad when it is time to sit down. But the amount of energy in that room, jokes about energizers aside, when everyone is singing and praying together is just amazing. And to know that there are so many young people so excited about following Jesus and being the church is so inspiring. In seminary, we talked a lot about how the church is dying and all of these things, but being in a room like that, in that type of worship experience, it's impossible to think of the church as anything other than something that's growing and changing and excited. Also, the preachers they have are just fantastic. Because it's such a big event, so important in the Presbyterian world, some of the people that you hear preaching are really the best of the best. If you are someone who's, I don't know, into worship, the musicians are the best of the best. The preachers are the best of the best. It is just an experience like nothing else. And to be able to experience that all together in such a big group is something that's really indescribable. So that's about all I have to say about worship.
I think that's pretty inspiring. Thank you for sharing that, Becca. So at this point, we're going to turn it over to Andy, and I'm going to let Andy speak a little bit.
So I've actually been to Triennium twice. I went in 2013 as a youth participant, and then I went again in 2016 as work crew. I'm actually going to talk mostly about work crew. What work crew is, it's basically the behind the scenes of the entire event. It's about 50 to 75 college age kids who they basically set up everything, take everything down. It's divided into 5 different teams, basically. That's called, there's the community life team, which I was a part of. They do crowd control at the beginning of worship. Funny story about that. The first day of 2016, we were told to get to worship early because we had to do crowd control. So we roped off the doors so the kids couldn't storm in. So it was pretty great because there was like a 10-foot radius that we had blocked off. So we were all pretty comfortable. Everyone else out there was like sardines in a can. And you'd never seen 5,000 kids just more excited to go to worship. And then when it was time for us to let them in, the leader, which they called wranglers, he told us to rip the tape and then hold on to the cone that we had to stand up next to. And I was fearing for my life because I was like, oh my God, there are 5,000 kids just running past me. So that's what community life does. And then, because they have pretty much the easiest job out of the 5, so when they're not doing anything, they go and help the rest of the teams. And then the next team is the worship team. They help set up worship. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it for them. Then small group team, the first day they lead all the kids to their small groups. They hold up signs and tell you where to go. And there's recreation. They set up the rec events. They help make the stuff. In 2016, we had the I forget what it was called. It was like the wall of prayers or whatever. It was all the pallets. Becca and Christy know about that. Then, so we had to nail a whole bunch of nails into that. That was a lot of fun. Didn't work very well. So we set up that. That was mostly the rec crews, but then they had other people come and help on that. And then the last team is called the administration team. They basically sit in a room for 8 hours of the day doing paperwork. Sounds like a lot of fun. So that's basically what work crew is. Now I want to talk a little bit about the rec event and small group meeting. The rec event happens on it's called Memorial Mall. It's basically the big grassy field in the middle of campus. All the students, they have games. There's a band that plays, the same band that plays at worship goes and plays there. Just a lot of fun, singing, dancing, playing games, getting to know everybody, trading buttons, which is a big thing at Triennium. And then the last thing is small group. Every student, youth is put into a small group. Then they have a meeting time every day, meeting location. So when it's time for them to do that, they go to their location. There's probably about 15 or 20 kids in a small group. And then I don't know if it's all of the adults, but at least some of the adults get put into a small group too. And they help the small group leader lead the small group and facilitate discussions. And when I did it in 2013, that was probably the most fun I had. And then 2016 was the most fun I had at Triennium because of work group. And that's pretty much all I have to say.
Thank you very much, Andy. So at this point, it's time for Imani to speak. Her timing is perfect. So yes. We're going to go right back over to Imani. So Imani, you were talking about the fact that you've been to Triennium once.
Yes. So I've been once, and it was my summer before my 10th grade year in high school. And I was really excited because I always love going on summer trips with the First Presbyterian Youth. But I was also kind of nervous because I heard that they were going to put us in like different groups. And I'm an ambivert, so I'm not the first person to go up and like say hi to you and be like, hi, my name's Imani, like, how are you? I'm going to like hide in the corner until someone notices that I'm not like a part of the group. But when you go to Triennium, they don't really let you do that. They kind of like force you to be involved. They're like, oh, get in a group when you're from the same state. So me and this guy that was in my small group who was from Westchester, was like 3 hours from Albany. I actually still talk to him today, but we kind of became friends because we were the only kids from New York, and everyone else was from like, there was just one girl from Puerto Rico, and there was another girl from like Michigan. So like me and him like stood together, and we are actually really good friends today. He goes to Marist now, so he's a little bit closer to me. But I think Triennium there's a really big misconception about it because everyone just kind of assumes like, oh, it's a church camp. You're going to go sing, I don't know, choral hymns around the fire and pray all day. But it's a lot more than that, especially in worship. I thought it was going to be like a giant church service, like Pastor Maria and Pastor Glenn do every Sunday. But it's really more about everyone coming together and like sharing all their different interests and ideas. And I feel like if you haven't been to Triennium, you should really go because it's something you definitely don't want to miss out on. I'm really excited to go this summer.
Great. I'm so glad you were able to share that with us.
Thanks.
Christy, do you want to talk a little bit about the logistics and how people can learn more?
Sure. Before I launch into that, I just want to acknowledge Dorothy Sperry, who's with us today. She's one of the youth from First Press, and you're in 8th grade, right, Dorothy?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're going to Triennium next year, right, Dorothy?
Yep.
Okay, now here are all the reasons why. I think we were supposed to introduce ourselves again. Once again, I'm Christy D'Ambrosio. I'm the youth pastor at First Press in Albany, and I'm also the registrar for the Albany Presbyterian group of delegates that will be going next summer. This will be, 2019 will be my 3rd time at Triennium, my 3rd time as registrar. The cost this year is $555 for registration with transportation on top of that. So that's going to be very close to $750 per person. Now, immediately that sends up a red flag. You know, who has $750 that they can use for a specific trip for youth? It's even a little pricey for many adults. Let me just tell you how we manage that. 1/3 of that is paid for upfront by the presbytery. Another third of that is going to be paid for by your home church. And there have been no problems up to date of collecting $500 total from the presbytery and from your home church. Now that leaves each individual with about $250 that they are sort of responsible for, but you can manage this $250 through fundraising at your church. You can manage it through scholarships. You can come up with the money yourself. But what I like to say to everyone is if you want to go, we'll find a way to get you there. So don't worry about the money. Just worry about committing and wanting to go, and we'll find a way.
Okay.
Go ahead, Kim.
No, was there anything else you wanted to add? I didn't mean to interrupt.
You said something about what was available online for the youth and anyone that would want to go at college age, like Andy, to do work crew, or like Becca, be an adult chaperone. I think that there is a link on the website, the Presbytery website. Is that correct, Kim?
Yeah, I'm happy to show that whenever.
Maybe at the end or when I'm done speaking.
Yes.
Imani's back. And also attached to that website, there's an application. It's just a very basic one-pager. If you will fill that out and send it to me, either attach it to an email, and my cell phone is also on the website, or you can take a picture of it and attach it in a text to me. I take it in whatever form and I will register you myself. I did want to talk a little bit about transportation. It's a long way to Indianapolis. It's a long way to Lafayette, Indiana. It's a 14-hour bus trip. So many people say, oh God, why don't we fly? Well, number one, it's expensive to fly. We are going to take that $555 for registration, and if all goes well, we'll get enough people registered so that it will be less than $250 per person round trip on the bus. Now, well, I wouldn't want to fly anyway, because when we go on the bus, we bond. And obviously you spend 14 hours on the bus, you're going to bond. It's like being next to someone spending the night together, only you're in separate little blankies and we're patrolling the aisle. So nothing really crazy happens except you're exhausted and you're trying to get some sleep in. But it is really fun. We bond as a presbytery. And then, as Imani said, once you get to Triennium, you bond with your small group. And you have the opportunity, as Andy said, to bond with 5,000 other youth, as Becca said, in this huge, inspiring worship center, worship experience. So I would say if you haven't been, you should go. Right, Dorothy? And if you have been, you should go back.
So let me just take a minute to show some of the resources on the website, and that will allow our hosts to gather their thoughts for a last inspirational thought as to why you might want to consider going to Triennium. Let me share my screen. Let's see here. Okay, so this is the Albany Presbytery website right now. If you want to go to the website, to the place where we have all of our information, it's on our calendar. There's a couple of ways to access the calendar. You can get to our calendar from news and events. You can get to our calendar by clicking this events button, but you can also go underneath committees and groups, and the very last area is called youth. That's a page dedicated to just our youth activities. And as you can see, we have a link to the Triennium event page, which if you click on the event page, we go into, this shows you the Triennium, all the information. This is going to be updated. One of the things I'm going to add to this is all the blogs that were done last time, so that people can get a sense of, from the people who were actually there, what was happening and what was going on during Triennium in 2016. We'll add that. I haven't had a chance to do that now. But as you can see, here's the video that Becca referred to earlier when she was talking. You can just click on that and that will show you the official Triennium video. We currently have the overview, which is here that Christy referenced, and then we also have we also have that's the overview, and here's the application that Christy referenced. So there's a lot of good information on the Presbytery website. You can get to the Presbytery website by it's albanypresbytery.org, and we're happy to send that out to anybody who might have a question, or Christy's been sharing that with everyone too. So that's where we're at, I think, for the resources right now. So at this point, I think I'm going to let each of the hosts take a moment to sort of give their thoughts on why we should consider going to Triennium in 2019. So I guess we'll start with Becca.
Okay. Well, I would say if you are a high school aged kid or in college, I would suggest going to just experience it, to experience being with so many other young people who are excited about Jesus, are excited about this whole thing, this way of life, being Christian, but also just a cool group of people making all kinds of new friends and that kind of thing. If you are an adult who is considering being a chaperone, I would recommend it incredibly highly. You get to meet some amazing youth. You will have so much hope for the future of the church. You will get to connect with other awesome adults. Jerry McKinney and I still have all kinds of inside jokes these 2.5 years later, because as Christy says, if you spend 14 hours overnight together on a bus, you bond. So it is just an amazing experience, no matter what role you are taking part in.
Andy, you want to go next?
All right, so as I said, I went twice in 2013 as a youth and 2016 as a work crew. If you're a youth, I highly recommend going. My first time I went, I was kind of skeptical of what I was going to experience when I got there, but I found that it was one of the greatest experiences I had ever had, which made me want to go again in 2016. I originally wanted to go as an adult chaperone in 2016, but I was going to be like 3 months too young to do that. So I found that I could go as work crew, and well, I could volunteer, but I could pay to volunteer, which was also a lot of fun. And if you're, because unlike the youth, there is no set age requirement for work crew. Because for the youth, you have to be entering 8th grade to just graduated 12th grade. For work crew, you have to basically be just graduated or just finished your first year of college to like 25, for a rough guess, because I'll be 23 when I go again. And when I went in 2016 for work crew, we took a trip. My crew took a trip to the Dairy Queen. There's a Dairy Queen on campus, and it was one of my crew members' birthdays, and So our wrangler treated us all to ice cream. And we just sat there. We made like 7 inside jokes. That basically became best friends. It was fantastic. So there's really nothing to not going.
Cool. I think we're going to take a moment and try to get Imani on, hopefully.
Am I on?
Yes, you
Yep.
are.
Okay, good. I'm really sorry in advance if it cuts out again. Okay. I don't really think there's any reason you shouldn't go to Triennium. I mean, one, it really reaffirmed my belief and my relationship that I had with God and, you know, my religion, because my dad's half Catholic. I'm like half Catholic, half Presbyterian, and I don't really plan on picking one over the other, but I really think it just solidified the relationship I have with my Presbyterian religion. And I really made a lot of lifelong friends that I'm definitely never going to forget, because we have a group chat that we still go back to every month. And we're always like, are you going to Triennium? Are you going to Montreat? So yeah, I really don't think there's any reason you shouldn't go. It's something, there's just like a feeling you get when you go, especially when you go to worship. It's like,
Okay, so I think what we're going to say is that it's like, and she's speechless. She just
Yeah, there it is. That's perfect, Kim.
can't put it into words. So at that point, I think, Imani, did you want to finish that thought? It's like.
No, I'm okay. I'm okay now.
So I added that perhaps it just made you speechless because.
It did. Obviously.
Excellent. And then Christy, I'm going to end with you.
Worshiping and interacting with 5,000 to 6,000 people is obviously thrilling. Traveling and becoming closer and bonding with other youth in our presbytery and young adults and adults as well is a wonderful, wonderful experience. Making new friends one-on-one with people who don't even live in this country, don't live in your state. As Imani said, and I'm sure Andy has lots of friends that he keeps in touch with, she keeps in touch with many years after the event. And finally, just personally, it's a personally spiritual, enriching experience. I encourage everyone to go.
So I'm going to just pause for a moment and ask if, Dorothy, did you have, not to put you on the spot, but did you have any questions? I didn't see any questions come through. Did anything come to your mind about why you had to be here or anything? No questions?
No.
Well, I just want to really thank you for joining us tonight and being in our audience. And if anybody has any, if you have any questions, or if you, anyone watching this video has any questions, please feel free to reach out to Christy. Her information and contact information is on the web associated with this event, but it's also going to be in the details that are posted with this video. So Christy, you want to just say your email quickly so that we
Sure.
have it?
It's pretty easy. It's my name. I think you can see my name on the screen, Christy@firstpressalbany.org. And I probably shouldn't do this, but my cell number is 518-423-4763. Call me, text me. I'm not afraid of getting weird calls because I'm old. Everything is easier now. So don't be afraid to call. I really am approachable.
And I'll put that information up in at the end of this video.
Okay.
So I just want to say thank you to all of our hosts. I mean, one of the things that's so incredible is that new and innovative and fun things are happening a lot of times in our youth sector. And as evidence of that, it was really difficult to get 4 of our hosts together at the same time, at a time that would work. And I just want to say thank you for everybody for taking time out of your Sunday evening. Thank you to those who joined us. And if you have any questions, we are thrilled and looking forward to talking with you more in the future.